Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to another video. Specifically, welcome to a video about the 5 skills that I think every writer needs, including me. These are all skills that I am currently working on, just really fostering and cultivating so that I can be a better writer. So let's jump right into it. The first skill is writers need to observe. They need to be observant. They need to be watching people around them. They need to be paying attention to what are people doing? How are they acting? Be curious about everything and anything in their day-to-day life, because you know what? Those different people that you meet can be story seeds. Not that you're going to copy them or put them in your book, or maybe you do and you just rename them with a fictional name. But every instance, every person you meet, everything you observe in day-to-day life can be a story seed. In other words, it can serve as inspiration and get your mind going and brainstorming, and can turn and blossom into a wonderful story idea. Secondly, writers need to educate. Not just themselves, they educate others through their book. I actually purchased a copy of Time Life magazine. Specifically, it was the 100 best fantasy books of all time. And believe you me, I don't usually drop $15 down for a magazine, but this was really a neat book because my husband and I, he's more of an avid fantasy reader than I am, but something really resonated in the introduction of this magazine, and it said we read fiction for 2 reasons. 1, we learn, we educate ourselves, and 2, to escape and entertain. We'll get to that later. But we can educate others through even fictional writing. Oftentimes, well, let's just put it this way. Human beings love stories, parables, allegories, even metaphors are short stories. If you think about it, it's taking something else and using it to explain or describe another situation or instance or thing. We learn best through stories. For whatever reason, our brains are wired to be really into story. And so when we just tell even just a fictional narrative, we have an opportunity to say something about anything. And I was thinking about this the other day. I've heard the saying, there's nothing new under the sun. But there is, because each one of us has a very different, very unique perspective. So the way we might communicate something will be entirely different than somebody else would communicate that. And so I think it's interesting to think about the fact that a story that you write or a story that you're telling might speak volumes to somebody else who might have not ordinarily heard it or received that information in that same way from somebody else's writing, or even somebody trying to share in their day-to-day life. So when we write, we educate. So think about, what is it that I want to communicate? What is it that I want to tell the reader? Not necessarily overtly. I think the best way to educate people is covertly. In other words, entertain them so well, but give them something to chew on, to think about even after they close the cover. The next thing writers do, number 3, is they entertain. Getting back to that statement that I read in Time Life magazine. We read fiction and fantasy to educate ourselves and to entertain ourselves and to escape. You know what? Books are around when a lot of others aren't. And what I mean by that is, there have been times in my life where I felt incredibly lonely when I was going through situations or experiences that left me feeling alone. And it might sound odd or weird, but books have kept me company. And I could read a story, even if it was fictional, about somebody else going through a difficult time and feeling a kind of kinship with that character and seeing how they responded and how they felt. And so when we write stories, or when you are writing a story actively as an author, as a writer, you are cultivating an escape for somebody else. Not just entertainment, but a break from their day-to-day life. Personally, I don't want this channel to be about politics, and I'm not going to go there per se. But right now, for my own mental health, I am taking a break from all news. I just can't have the news on in my house right now. And so that's giving me a lot of, actually, not just news. I don't watch network television anymore because I'm curating any screen time that I have. Now, don't get me wrong. I am on Netflix and I am on Prime Video, and there's YouTube channels that I watch because those are curated. My time is very finite, my free time, and I want to use that well. And it's not going to be spent on things that are going to bombard my brain and affect my mental health. So I'm being very conscientious about how I escape. And I'm reading a lot more books. And so as writers, I think it's important for us to remember that we are crafting an escape, an experience for readers. And so I think that we need to be good stewards of our time and our energy and our craft when we craft those escapes. And boy, that just weighs heavy on my heart. But it's also exciting because it gets my imagination going, because I'm thinking, what kind of escape do I want to create for somebody else? And who do I want to reach with my writing? Number 4, writers recycle. When you go back to number 1, I was talking about writers being observant. Well, we need to recycle too, not only looking at what's happening to other people and outside of our life, but think about the experiences we've already had. What experiences have you gone through? What feelings and emotions have you been challenged with? What are some anecdotes that you've experienced are really memorable in your own mind and reflections? Those can be story seeds too. Sometimes something will happen to me. My son will say something, or something funny will happen in the grocery store, and I'll take a quick little note about it, because you know what? That might be a good start for a character, or maybe a character in a future book that I'm writing. They will experience similar things. And, I've heard it said that truth is often stranger than fiction. But you know what? Our truths can make really good fiction. We can weave our truths, our experiences, our challenges, our frustrations into fictional narratives to bring characters that much more alive, to make them much more vibrant, multifaceted, and much more relatable too. Lastly, writers need to take action. And oh boy, I personally am struggling with this one right now. But I was thinking, 3-act story structure. You have a beginning, a middle, and end, right? A setup, a climax, a resolution. As writers, if you're anything like me, I really enjoy the planning part. I enjoy playing with the paper. I enjoy writing by hand. I enjoy organizing my index cards and my story decks, I call them. I enjoy giving myself time to brainstorm and just playing with my own thoughts and daydreaming. The other part that's not necessarily, I enjoy it, but it's not as fun as the beginning part, is the actual doing. That would be sitting down at the computer and actually writing. But that is a part of being a writer, right? We need to take action. The difference is you're just a planner if you don't move to that next step of writing and taking action and working on drafts and editing. So as writers, we need to take action. So there you have it. Those are 5 skills that every writer needs to have. And this is going to be my wake-up call and accountability challenge to move to that next step. I have been sitting on some story seeds for a while, nurturing them, allowing them to take root, right, in the planning process. But now it's time to actually sit down at the computer, have some writing time, some writing sprints, and allow those roots to actually grow into a manuscript. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of these, tune in every Wednesday. I release a new Writer Wednesday video. And if you've appreciated this video and taken anything from it, please leave me a like below. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd love to have you join this channel. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.